Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Nikki, for being here. Really excited about tonight. Nikki is a huge advocate of the portfolio career. She's an actor, a qualified life and business coach, writer, and speaker. She is passionate about supporting other women to create a business and life that defines their version of success. Um, through through coaching, she's helped over 700 people through her workshops and one-to-one sessions and online courses as well. And there's a link to that as well on the webinar tonight. So she also is a mom of a 2-year-old boy, and she works across a variety of platforms. She has an amazing podcast called Dreaming and Doing. Please go and listen to it, and I look forward to hearing about how to become working for yourself, how to work for yourself, Nikki's version of it. So, Nikki, it's over to you.
Hi, Dahlia. Thanks so much for having me. What
Hi.
an absolute treat. Yeah, thank you for that lovely introduction. Yeah, I'm Nikki. I do lots of things, actor, coach, writer, speaker, and a podcaster. And tonight, I really want to talk about us being freelancers, being personal brands, or perhaps starting your own business and making life and work a little bit better for you. I've experienced this a lot with my clients that they're not necessarily looking for the perfect version of success that might be out there of like the Gucci handbag or the whopping great castle with the moat. There's a lot more to it to that than that. There's a line that they want to follow that feels really good to them, and that's what I do basically in my coaching sessions or workshop is to help them find their version of success and also earn really well for it. This is really key as well, and to be able to complete and create work that really works with not only their personality but also really connects with who they are and how they want to work and their life circumstances. So, if you haven't already, feel free to grab a piece of paper and a pen. I'm not going to be sharing like a step by step of how you become a millionaire overnight by any means, but what I do want to do through the course of this webinar is to really give you lots of exercises that you can take away with you tonight and you can revisit if you're ever feeling a bit stuck or we're looking at trying to create the foundation. So doing this work, and when I say things tonight, you might think, oh, I need to look at this much more, or there's something in this, but I'm not sure what it is yet. And anything that you do write down tonight, I think it's really important to, and I know this is a bit of a buzz phrase at the moment, but to be really kind with yourself. Sometimes there can be that temptation to write a sentence or two and say, right, okay, I've got to write the most amazing sentence I've ever written and get this right and perfect right now. But do you know what? You don't need to. And the amount of times I was just saying to Dahlia earlier, I've got notebooks all over my desk and my office where I've just written something down. And then when I go back and revisit it, I'm like, oh, actually, that was the little seedling of this big idea that grew. So, whatever I say tonight, there really is no pressure to make it perfect, to get it right first time. This can be very much the sort of brainstorming type situation. I'm just going to pull up my computer. I'm on two computers tonight. Here we go. Crazy technology. Um, so, Also, as well, I know you might have a few temptations along the way to maybe say, is it even worth me looking at this right now? Do I just wait until my kid goes to school or until I've got more time or money that I can invest in a certain area of your business or grow it? But I really want to encourage you just to see what comes up for you and take the next right step. Because sometimes we can feel like we're going to have this elusive 2 week time in our lives where we're going to really dedicate to finding ourselves. But especially if you've got kids and or if you've got busy life circumstances, we very rarely have that time. So it's about really working with what you have right now in order to move forward. And that's what it's all about. We're going for progress, not perfection here. So, the first thing I want you to do is to just write down a few thoughts about where you are right now in this moment in your business or your career. And be very instinctive about this and just write down the first things that come to mind. I'll just give you a second or two just to write a few things. And it may be an emotion that you just want to write down. It may be a couple of words. It may be a frustration. It may be something that has happened really brilliantly today that you weren't expecting. Just be very instinctive and write down what comes to mind. And next, I want you then to check in with where you actually want to be. So, when I trained as a coach, there was this emphasis on how we describe it. And coaching for me has been looking at where you are now and where you want to be, and looking at how you can bridge that gap. So, in order to maximize your time and your focus and your energy and money and whatever else you have available, you really can afford to spend plenty of time in that visioning state and really thinking about what is it that you want to build? What is your version of your dream business life? What are you looking to create? And it will be different for every single person. And there's absolutely no right way to do this. And I was just saying to Dahlia earlier, I have lots of post-it notes all over the top of my desk. And I found that really grounding and a really good foundation to keep coming back to. Because when my business is squeezed sometimes, or I know that I've got a to-do list and I've only got an hour in order to action it, I really have to connect with that why and why I'm moving forward in that direction. And when I know that, and it could be just a few words or phrases or pictures, it really helps center me again and get into a place of moving forward and enthusiasm and being proactive and putting myself out there, as it were, rather than I don't know why I'm doing this, or maybe letting those limiting beliefs or self-doubts come into play. So that vision is really important. And one thing that I can share with you is a really fantastic exercise that I always come back to. And you can do this at any time. You don't have to continue with the same one. You can add it. I actually found this exercise from 2014 in an old notebook the other day. And it was quite fascinating to look at it and be able to tick off and go, oh, yeah, that happened. Oh, I did that. Or, oh, well, I sort of did it in this kind of way, which was slightly different to that. But it was really cool to read. So basically, how you complete this next exercise, which will really help you with that visioning, is to get 3 columns on your piece of paper. And in the first, you can write be, the second, you can write do, and the third, you can write have. And this is a very simplistic way of really getting to grips and into the detail of what it is that you want. Now, there may be a few things that come up at this stage of you saying, is this for business or is this for life? Often when I complete this exercise, it's a combination of the two, because for me, my business and life do work alongside each other. I don't have that working 9 to 5 and then, hating most of my week and then living for the weekend. Sometimes I do work weekends, sometimes I do work evenings or early mornings, but sometimes I'll have a random Tuesday lunchtime out, and that's lovely as well. So in the B column, again, don't edit anything like this. Just come up with whatever comes to mind first and foremost. In the B column, I would write down everything that you want to be. So that could be location independent. It could be a female entrepreneur. It could be a present mum or a loving, loyal partner, whatever that is for you. And so you can write that initially in the B column of looking at what it is, what's the first thing that comes to mind, but then also underneath that, checking in and writing down how you can um, how you can connect with that. So if you're saying you want to be a present parent, what does that mean to you, and how are you able to measure that? So for me, I don't know, being a present parent might be not getting slightly erratic with my son, or making sure that we've got a really good adventure day at least a couple of times a week, or just feeling like I'm grounded and I'm uh, in good conversation with him, whatever it might be. So moving on from the B, you can go into do, which is all about what do you want to do. So again, this could be launching your own business. You might like to write a book. Maybe you want to create a product that can be for sale. Really dream big as well. This is very important. I know sometimes there can be that temptation of like, do I write that down? Is that really going to happen? But I really encourage you to go for it, because you may as well, and this is your piece of paper and nobody needs to see it. Finally, I would like you to write in the have column, which is all about what you want to have. And this doesn't need to be materialistic. This could be a Friday afternoon off, or it could be savings in the bank, whatever it might be. This is really important for you to get connected with that vision, because once you know, and I know I'm slightly moving forward with it quite quickly, but hopefully you'll be able to go back and revisit this later down the line. But really think about what that vision is for you and what is important, because once you know those components of your life, you can then build a business which is much more on your terms. For example, because I do the different things, the actor, the coach, the writer, the speaker, now podcaster, and a mum, and my partner is also an actor as well. I really see our lives as being very full, as in, there's lots of stuff going on. A lot of it is very exciting. Some of it is a logistical nightmare, but c'est la vie. But also as well, I would say our life is quite spontaneous. Sometimes, although we have days where our son goes to nursery, he has a Monday and Thursday. There is certainly a bit of a spontaneous last minute nature to our lives. For example, my partner was away for 5 months last year. We knew that tour was coming, but certainly it changed the way that I ran my business and the way that I showed up. So in knowing that I want to have lots of family time, and that vision for me of being slightly location independent, to be able to do so much work from my laptop that doesn't require an office, is really important. Now, I know a lot of coaches that I've worked with or I see online, they do 12-month packages where it's, they give monthly support in that way. But for me, again, going back to that vision, I know that I don't want to do that necessarily, because I don't want to say to somebody, right, we can work together for 12 months, and then, on month 9, something happens and we end up moving up the country, whatever it might be. So really making sure that you're connecting with that and why you're doing it. Also, as well, I want you to think about how you feel in your business right now, or in your career if you've not kind of stepped over to that. And I really want you to think about what is working really well. Because I know, as parents, as business owners, as women, as creatives, as human beings, we can always be very quick to judge what's not going well, where we're falling down, where we're not giving enough, where we're maybe unnecessarily giving too much. We can be quite hard on ourselves as well. So I really want you to connect with what is going really well for you at the moment. And it may be something on your to-do list that you finally ticked off, or perhaps you're just getting a lot of really great feedback that people really love your idea. Maybe people are connecting and engaging much more with your social media posts, or perhaps you just feel like suddenly a weight has been lifted off your shoulder. You feel like you're getting momentum, you feel like you're getting it. It suddenly feels a little bit easier. So I want you to write down what is going really well for you in your business right now. I'm going to have a sip of tea and let you do that. And then the next question on the flip side is, what isn't going so well? So maybe it's the stuff that you know you procrastinate about. It could be the stuff that you just feel hard and you want to avoid, or maybe you find yourself getting into a bit of a sticky situation with it because you don't really understand how to maximize it or to make it the best that it can be. Think about what's not working so well. And these don't necessarily have to be disaster areas of, this is an absolute nightmare. How am I ever going to come out the other side? This could be simply those things of like when you see it on your to-do list, you have that sudden like, oh, in the pit of your stomach and you don't really want to move forward. Because I think once we identify what we're good at, where our strengths lie, where we can bring our experience to the table, and on the flip side again, where we're not as comfortable, where we're not as confident, you can start to be a little bit more strategic in terms of moving forward. So one thing that I can share with you is since becoming a mum, I've worked less, but I've earned more. This is not to show off by any means, but it is to say that no matter what people say, and I know there's a lot of very important conversation at the moment about maternity rights and returning to work as a mum and equal pay, all of that is absolutely crucial to continue debating and talking about it and finding brilliant solutions to. But also, as well, I don't want you to feel restricted. I don't want you to almost expect that that's going to be the case, because the thing is, when you work for yourself and you're creating something on your terms, you can make it work for you. And certainly, since having my son, and I did a post about it on Mother's Day, he's improved everything but sleep in my life. He's improved my clarity, my efficiency, my general outlook towards the world. I'm much more optimistic. I talk to my neighbours, I get more fresh air. These are just some of the things, of course. But I think it's important to know where you're going with it and what you are capable of. It's really important. I feel like sometimes we just really undersell ourselves and we don't necessarily need to. And the reason that I've been able to work less and earn more is because not only have I got really strategic with the plan, because bizarrely I used to think I was way too busy to plan, which was slightly counterintuitive, of course, and completely silly. But also, as well, I was trying to do all of the things, and I was trying to be a pleaser and help everybody out and over deliver and over give, prove a point, be the best. And one thing I realized, well, I mean, I always knew it, of course, is that I'm not the best person for the job for every single part of my life. And that can be when my partner is, I don't know, playing a game with my son and they're quite happy and having a lovely time. They don't want me kind of barging in. Equally as well, like when I've worked with VAs or assistants or members of team, I need to let people get on with things and to delegate the stuff that doesn't put me in my zone of genius. And that's a quote from a book called The Big Leap. I don't know if you've read it. It's a really good book about taking that big leap, going to the next level and moving on upwards. And it's okay, I guess. It's okay. I mean, I'm coming to this clearly as it's a bit of a sticking point for me and definitely a work in progress. But it's okay to say yes more. It's okay to say no more. And it's okay to be willing to shift things around and look at a different perspective on things. So, also, as well, I'm just pulling this up. I want you to think about what are the best elements of your business or your career? What is the stuff that you find so easy? The stuff that really lights you up, that makes you feel like you, or that you could absolutely do this with your eyes closed. And I can vouch for the fact that if you just do those things and you do them well, and you do them with all your heart and might and all of that good stuff, those are going to be the things that really grow. So, coming from an acting background, I was very used to being on stage and being out there and going into rehearsal rooms with people I barely knew, and suddenly you just had to, I don't know, be their best friend or their lover. This is in terms of the acting piece, not in real life. That would be a pressure, wouldn't it? But you know, you had to have that very gregarious point of view, and that's not necessarily my personality either. But bizarrely, when I trained as a coach, it took me a long time to become quite visible because the word of life coach, it just felt a bit stuffy for me. It didn't necessarily feel like me. I didn't want people, you know, who I was maybe friends with on Facebook to think that suddenly I was trying to cure them or save their life. And bizarrely, I stood back and I wasn't visible in terms of videos for a long time, even though that was something that came perhaps more naturally to me than writing a blog post. I love doing English, and writing is something that comes quite easy, but it wasn't necessarily the easy win. But you know what? Now I've stepped into that, and certainly using something like Instagram or Facebook as a platform in order to share my message and to do live trainings and workshops. And now I've given myself the permission to do that. It's become much easier, and people have connected with me and my message much more. So when you're thinking about the best elements or the things that you're really good at and you enjoy, they may be the obvious. So don't discount them. Really try and make it easy for you, because I know sometimes we can really try and overcomplicate things. Um, Next, I want you to think about how you can stand out in your business. So I don't know about you, but if you're an Instagram addict like me, sometimes I can go on there and everything feels a little bit samey. London traffic. Everything feels a bit samey. Everything feels like it's been done before, or like this post could easily be a post of somebody else's, and there doesn't seem to be anything stand out about it. So one thing that you can do after tonight's call is to maybe do a brainstorm about what it is that you bring to the table and how you are indeed different. And some clues along that way could be your skills, your talents, your experience, where you grew up, maybe part of your story, maybe your circumstances now, and I guess be willing to bring your whole self to the table. I know often in the corporate world we're taught how to, you know, be in work mode or be in home world. But certainly if it's your own business and if you are the face of the brand, and I'm not saying that you should be ugly crying in a board meeting or anything like that. But what you can do is really, oh, hello, is really get to connections with the version of you that feels really comfortable. So there are certain things like being on video that I feel comfortable with, but it doesn't mean that I want to vlog my family holiday, and I don't think anybody necessarily needs to see that. Next, what are the answers that are missing for you? So there may be something that has been lying on your to-do list for so long, and you've just not taken any action with it, or you don't really know how to move it forward. And maybe there is a certain strand to your business that feels complicated, or it feels long-winded, and actually you know that you need to make a bit more of a system or a template with that is really going to help streamline things and make things easier for you. So thinking about what is missing for you, and then perhaps seeing if you can brainstorm what may be the answer for you. So what opportunities or solutions could maybe step in and make that situation better? That would be really useful for you to explore as well. And then, just because I'm conscious of time, I would like you to think about not only your vision that you created in the Be Do Have, but also think about what you want to achieve in perhaps the next 6 months. I know people talk about the life plan or the bucket plan, or the bucket plan, the bucket list, or the 5-year plan. But for me, I do have that vision for my life. But in terms of actioning things and getting going and really moving forward on them, I have to set myself very small goals. And I really encourage my clients to do that as well, because even though the vision is lovely and we could sit on a sun lounger all day and really think about our lives in details, when it comes to actioning something, we have to keep it really simple, like a real simple call to action, and you want to be able to do it and then tick it off your list and get it done in that kind of way. So whatever it is for you, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, or even kind of going up until Christmas or a year from now, I want you to think about some goals that you would like to add in place. So maybe that's taking on an extra pair of hands. Maybe it's working less. Maybe it's increasing your monthly revenue or your sales. I want you just to jot down a few ideas. And another thing that I can share with you is a way that you can work out these goals, which is called the SMART method. So when you're writing down your goals, you can work through specific, which is the S. So really being clear on what it is that you want to achieve. So instead of saying something, I don't know, vague, like I really should exercise more, you can work on the specifics of that, of saying, I really want to exercise 3 nights per week, and I want to work out for an hour each time, whatever that is. Next, I want you to think about the goals that you're setting as in like becoming measurable. So when people will say to me, oh, I just want to earn more money, or I just want to feel happier, or I just want more success. For me as their coach, it's really important that I help them get into the nitty gritty of that, of like, what does that mean to you? How will you know when you've achieved it? Because we don't just want to rely on a like, yes, I feel more successful today. We're looking at ways where we can analyze it and see what's working and see what's going on. Next as well, I want you to look at something being achievable. So if you have a young baby at the moment and you're already working in a corporate job for 70 hours a week and not really sleeping at night, it's probably like quite full on to go, right, I'm going to have a multi-million-pound business by April. So you have to be achievable and then going on in terms of realistic. So when you're setting these goals for yourself, I do agree that you absolutely should push yourself and move yourself out of your comfort zone, because I feel like that's how we grow. And if we keep doing the same things again and again, that's when we get stuck or we get complacent. But also be realistic. Sometimes I have coaching clients or potential coaching clients who will come to me, they're 37, 38 weeks pregnant, and they're like, I want to start a business before my baby's born. And I always say, please go and have your baby and then come back to me afterwards, because putting that pressure on yourself is quite full on as well. Finally, the T in that SMART process is time bound. So I know the temptation can sometimes be to say, by the end of the summer or this year, I'm hoping to, or I must get round to that this month. Seeing if you can actually set some really good time boundaries for yourself in order to move yourself forward. So what you can do is you can go back and revisit these questions that I shared tonight, and perhaps set yourself some goals around each of those questions. For example, what's missing for you? If it is a brand new accounting system, give yourself the time and the space in order to create a window of opportunity in order to fulfill that, and figure out when you want to make a decision for. I know a lot of my clients can sometimes stay in this research mode for way too long, and then they never sort of make a decision. Whereas actually you have to get to the point where you're like, okay, let's do this. Enough is enough. We have to crack on. So, so I've hopefully given you lots of things that you can work on here. Dahlia has shared my business goals course, which may be useful if you're a personal brand or small business. It's 16 modules that really help you to set goals on your terms. There's everything from how to package up your services to how to what to say yes to, what to say no to, how to find your audience, how to create your ideal client, what to charge, the goals that you want to set. So if you're interested in that, feel free to click on the affiliate link there. I'm actually working in collaboration with Dahlia, and if you purchase through that link, Dahlia will also get a commission as well, just to be completely transparent about that. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat box as well. You can also email me hello@nickyraby, NICKYRABY.com, if you've got any further questions, or follow me on Instagram or things like that. But hopefully this has given you plenty of food for thought. If you have any thoughts or things that pop into your head over the next couple of days, I really urge you to write them down. Even if, again, it's just a snippet of an idea and you don't really know what it's about, really capture it, because you never know when it's going to pop up. So thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for listening and watching and participating. And I hope that it's been useful. Bye.
Thank you so much, Nikki. That was really great. I've just typed in the chat box Nikki's email address for anyone that might have any questions to follow up on all that great content that she shared with us. And also as she mentioned, the affiliate button is right at the top of the screen. And if you want to watch this over again later, it will be up on the website by the end of this week, and also across social media. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Nikki, for your time and
Thank you for
for
having me.
the great information that you shared.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.